Aloha! My Ohana is going to be presenting on just basic, everyday, ancient Hawaiian life, and my subtopic is going to be hula, and we'll explain a little about hula in everyday Hawaiian life. So, start off with dance and visual performances are a common part of almost every culture worldwide. And these dances and performing arts are ways of expressing oneself and one's culture, while at the same time distinguishing them from other cultures around the world. So in ancient Hawaiian culture, the dance called hula was a way for Hawaiians to express themselves and their culture. This Hawaiian hula was anciently believed to have originated from the gods and took on different forms and purposes, and was sometimes accompanied by instruments that were an important part of adding to the dance. So, it is not 100% certain exactly where the Hawaiians hula originated from, but an article called Hula, the Soul of Hawaii shows that the origins of hula are possibly traced back to Tahiti, while others believe that it originated in Hawaii itself. So to ancient Hawaiians, however, it was believed that the god Pele and Hiaka were the ones to start hula when Pele begged her sisters to dance for her. So one sister, Hiaka, was the one who stepped forward and performed by dancing and singing for Pele. And when Hiaka danced for Pele, she used dance moves that she had been practicing with her friend Hopoe. And from these gods, the hula dance was born and was danced back in the ancient days in Hawaii, and it's still danced today. So next, hula takes on many different forms and types of dances, depending on the occasion or simply just the type of dance being performed. And it is evident the importance of hula through all the different types of hula that are performed. The hula dance, called hula ali'i, was a hula performed by individuals who were dancing for the chiefs or those in power. These dances were not restrictive, and you could be sitting or standing for the hula ali'i. You could play instruments or not while performing this dance as well. Ali'i also performed hula. According to the book Historical Perspectives, the most common hula for the ali'i to perform was called kala'au, and it was performed by hitting hand sticks against one another. Another hula that was used amongst the Hawaiians was called hula ka'i, which is also known as the entrance dance. The dance was used for entering a stage or an event. This dance had a little more restrictions because it was required that you stood while you danced, but there were no rules as to whether you had to use instruments or not. So it's still a little more strict, but not completely. And the last dance I'll be talking about is called hula ili ili, which is a hula performed with water-worn pebbles, which are held in the hands and clicked together to be in rhythm with the beat of the oli. So the hula ili ili has more restrictions than the hula ali'i because of the need for an instrument for this dance. So, like I stated earlier, the hula could be done with or without instruments. And in fact, a quote in the article Hula in Hawaiian Music sums it up pretty well by saying the telling of the story or legend was of primary importance. The hula was subordinate to the chant, while the music was subordinate to the chant, while the feet and lower body of the dancers served mainly to keep the rhythm, and their hand movements supplemented the meaning of the words. So this proves that the instruments were not really a necessity, but more of an added bonus to the performance, which would appeal more to the senses instead of just seeing the hula. You could hear the instruments adding more of an effect and be more appealing for the performance. So I'm going to be sharing some of the instruments. I just grabbed the paper. So one of the prominent instruments that was commonly found when researching hula instruments was called the pahu hula, which were drums that were made out of coconut wood with shark skin stretched over the top and nailed down with shark teeth. And these drums made a beat when struck with the bamboo drumsticks that they came with. So this is the pahu hula, and you've probably seen it even today they're still around, especially at the PCC. The next instrument are the rattles with feathers on top, which were common back in the day in Hawaii and are still used today. And those are usually with brightly colored feathers. One of the more interesting instruments used in Hawaii is the bamboo nose flute, which I have a picture of right here. And it's just played like a regular flute, but instead of blowing with your mouth through it, you use your nose. The last instrument I'll be talking about is just the ili, which was mentioned earlier, and those are just water-worn stones that are clicked together to go along to the beat of the oli. So, all in all, the hula is a very important part of the Hawaiians' lives and is a big factor in what made their culture what it was. The hula was proven as an important cultural practice through its different types and common uses, and while the hula itself did not require instruments, they were sometimes used to add to the dances and appeal to the senses. So hula may be seen as a dance to us in modern day, but to the Hawaiians, it was much more than that. My favorite quote while researching hula was by the Smithsonian, and it states that hula is aloha in action. It dances to the ancient gods and spirits. It is a way of being happy and is something very vital to Hawaii. It is not something or some surface thing that is danced in a hotel and danced as a folklore like in other lands, but is something that penetrates to the very roots of the society. With this we see that hula may, end quote, with this we see that hula may seem to us as a dance, but for the Hawaiians in ancient days, it was part of their culture and deeply rooted in themselves and their culture, and was a very important part of their ancient everyday lives. Mahalo.
Topic I was given, the subtopic for my Ohana project, was about the family, Hawaiian families and ancient Hawaiian families and their culture, which I found very interesting. So through my research and study of it, I learned what was important to the Hawaiians and their families. That being said, family was the most important thing for the Hawaiians. That was the main focus. Everything they do, everything they worked for was towards serving their family. Not only their immediate family, but also the extended family, the grandparents, the uncles and aunties. Everyone played a vital role, especially in the upbringing of the children. The parents had the main influence, but once again, the grandparents and uncles and aunties and extended family played a vital role in the upbringing of the children, much more than maybe what some of us would know now in modern society of how we're brought up. And so that's how big and how important family was for these Hawaiians. Something else that I found interesting was that when man and woman are arranged to be married, once their family has made these arrangements, they'd go and teach their children, or teach these ones that are supposed to be getting married, the necessary life skills that they thought they needed to live with the other person. They taught them hard work and service and the things, maybe the little things that you need to do to be able to coexist with someone else. And so that's how important it was for them. So the videos that I also put up, hopefully they came up. I know I'm supposed to be talking about family, but the main thing that the family did was they worked. Religiously and traditionally, men and women worked and ate separately in Hawaii, and men and women had different jobs. Now the woman had an important job of nurturing the children, also of weaving and of making the clothes for them, and the men would do the I guess more physical labor, such as catching the fish, making the food, making and building houses for them and things like that. But they all worked together and had a strong, close bond together. There's no catching fish without a net, and they needed clothes and everything, so they all worked together for the benefit of their family. What the University of Hawaii calls it is, in one of the resources that I had, was a family obligation, that these Hawaiians and a lot of Polynesians have a strong family obligation, that everything they do is to work towards their family. Everything that they do is not only for themselves or just for their parents, but for their extended family, that work hard for them. And also religion was an important part of their culture. Everything they did and the way that they did things, the way that they worked, the aino, the land, was important, because the land was their elder sibling and they had to care for it. They also needed to and knew that they could not get anything on their own, but relied on their gods and on the land to be able to provide for them. They had a strong belief that if they did what they needed to and respected who and what they needed to, that in return it would work out well for them. So the strong values for families were things such as love and respect, service. So once again, the videos was of a grandfather showing his family how to use the Hawaiian fishing net, how to throw it out. There was also the father and son pounding poi together, which teaches you a lot of patience, which teaches you perseverance. So all these things, all this work was part of their strong family values, of where they taught their children the necessities of life.